Good evening, folks. Freddie Bass with Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, I want to talk about the food distributions. Join me. Good evening, folks. Freddie Bass with Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, food distributions. And it might be a negative toward them. Also, the lawsuits. There's a lot of lawsuits going on involving some of our former council members, current council members. Let's talk about it. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Freddie Vasquez. How you doing, folks? Good evening. I want to talk about food distributions. And I also want to talk about the lawsuits. There's some lawsuits. I found another lawsuit involving John Rubel, councilman of the 4th District. So he's got his hands full there with some lawsuits. I mentioned yesterday the lawsuit with Mike Cater, former city council president, that named John Rubel in that lawsuit for $1 million in regards to last year's elections, where he was attacked and he's accusing them of defamation. It's a whole list of people there. You can actually go check it out. I do want to show Vasquez a little bit here. The live from earlier today. I want to be positive. As I went, this is the.
We have Yonkers Foodies.
There goes Yonkers Foodies, the guy that does Yonkers Foodies.
Yonkers Foodies is actually related to.
But I wanted to talk about this. This was at City Hall earlier today. It was the flag raising. So shout out to the Hispanic community here in the city of Yonkers. There were a lot of people in attendance. Congressman Jamal Bowman, of course, the mayor was there. Majority Leader Tasha Diaz, Councilman Mike Breen, Marisol, I forget her last name, pardon me. She is now heading the PAL, Latina woman, the head of the YMCA. And there were maybe some other. I also saw Reverend Stephen Lopez. He said hello. He was there as well. Dr. Edwin Quesada, the superintendent of schools. Steve Sansone of the Parks Department was there as well. And there goes the Puerto Rican Day. The Puerto Rican flag. This Sunday is the Puerto Rican Day or Hispanic Day parade. So I'm excited about that. I look forward to attending that event this Sunday. So if you're able to come out, join me and others in the celebration. Good food, music, and everything else. Very positive day. So I want to be positive to start off. So there you go. It was a great time. Thank you. And it was dope seeing the flag go up. But I want to talk about food distribution. Earlier today, I did go out to Nepperhan Avenue to check out the food distribution there and see what was going on and give folks a view into the food distribution that goes on there if you're not familiar with it. And I wanted to also give positive, feedback and positive and credit to the organization that actually is responsible for the food drive. And it's a church, and they donate the food, and the congregation donates the food. And I believe maybe they donate some money also to buy food. I'm not sure. But I thought it's very important that we acknowledge who, are the folks that are truly involved in the food distribution. And granted, the majority leader and elected officials are there and they're present and they're giving their time. But I wasn't being negative to the food distribution. I appreciate it. And I'm sure that many others do as well. I greatly appreciate it. So thank you for doing that. Thank you to your congregation. Thank you to the church and all the other organizations that take the time to do such a thing, and I can relate to it. Like I said, I've done things like that. And I do a food program also for homeless people. And I think I mentioned that to you, Jeffrey Meyer, if you happen to be watching or now or at some point. So I wasn't being negative. And I apologize if I came off that way. Please pardon me. And I sincerely and genuinely mean that. My issue is with the elected officials who politicize these food distribution, these food drives. And according to the majority leader in a recent interview with the Yonkers Voice, the reason Yonkers is fed is because of her. She's fed all of Yonkers. And so she never really gives credit to the other organizations. I do hear Feeding Westchester. I mean, their truck is super huge. You can't not acknowledge them, right? The trailer. But the other organizations that, are also contributing that I don't hear about. And so they politicize it, and it turns it into, in my opinion, a food, for votes, or votes for food program, where, she's there, and other elected officials are there in order to gain support from individuals. And then to show that, hey, look at what we're doing. Because according to the majority leader, that was pretty much her accomplishment. So other individuals, like myself and others, we are wondering, where is the housing ordinance? There's a need for housing. And also gun violence. What are you doing to address gun violence in the schools? Because I've been getting videos, and I'm getting in trouble now and accused of all kinds of things for receiving videos, which, by the way, I never shared and has been deleted. And I can't help when people text me. I mean, I get prank calls too. So, but I'm getting videos, I'm getting messages, I'm getting people asking me to bring to attention the violence in schools and the violence among the youth, the gang violence and gun violence that's still plaguing our communities. They stand tall on these, bills when something happens, when they can get press, but then when it comes time to implement these laws that they pass, if they actually pass and follow through, they don't, really, implement that law to the fullest extent. And again, because at that point, it's another political stand that they're taking. So, and these are the important issues. Housing is just as much as important issue as being fed, and there's a homeless population there that needs to be, given attention to. And so what is the majority leader doing about that and other elected officials? I mean, you just can't stand at food drives all the time and expect to get validation and praises and votes for that. And especially when it's not even your food, your contribution, your money. You just attach yourself to it. So that's my issue with it. And so it's not with the food drive specifically, but it's, the politicizing of these food drives. I mean, they have. Jeffrey, they have. They've taken them over, and that's what all they're about. We do the food drives, and we do this, and because of me, Yonkers is fed. Really? Not because of Jeffrey Meyer and his church and congregation and all the other organizations. Yonkers needs more housing. Yonkers needs to fix up Getty Square. Yonkers needs to address the homeless and mental health, issues that we have in the city. I saw a man, or actually a woman today, trying to fight cars right there by the food distribution. Where well, it wasn't at the same time. It was a little later on, but she was just jumping in the middle of the street trying to swing at cars and stuff earlier today. And I see a lot of this. And these are things that they also need to be addressing. They can leave the organizations and the volunteers there to distribute the food, spend time, on the budget and understanding fully what the budget means, what it entails, what are we getting, what's going on. How does the development affect, our community? How does the income that they're going to generate affect our foundation aid? Do you know what foundation aid is? Do you know how that formula is calculated? Or do you just revert back to I distributed food? And that's not their job. That's not their job. That's not in their job title or description, their job responsibility, which is great. But if you're not addressing and doing your actual responsibilities, then you're not doing your job. You start a 501c3 or join the organization and do that full time. That's fine. We need elected officials that are going to be in there and actually legislate. So that's my only thing with that. And that's why I say what I said. It's not about the food distribution drives, and I hear also that there was at the pharmacy there by Jacob's Pharmacy or whatever, Jacobson Pharmacy, that police busted up a group of individuals doing a rap video, hip hop video, not to down hip hop, but they were actually doing the video with real guns. And this was recently, like within 2-3 months. So there's a gun problem, it's a gun violence problem, a gang problem. There's a problem with violence in the schools. And I'm not getting any of this information from my wife at all. I'm getting this information from people in the community, students, parents, individuals. That's where I get all my information from. People in the community. And I hear from different schools, fights every day. That's what I hear. Someone was telling me today about Gordon. Fights every day at Gordon, fights every day. And that's people telling me this because I'm in the community. My wife is at work all day long. I'm not on the phone with her. She works in a great school. You know, it's really nothing going on there. I don't think in violence, stuff like that. She doesn't know what's going on in other schools. She doesn't know what's going on in Saunders, in the boys' bathroom, things that should be addressed and parents should be notified about. But Freddie Vasquez notifies the people and they accuse him of child pornography. And it's sad because the individuals that are involved are elected officials. You know, I hear things, I know things, and listen, at the end of the day, it is what it is. You're not going to discourage me. Your threats, your accusations are not going to discourage me from speaking the truth. I'm just informing the people, and you're upset about this to the point where you seek to try and get me arrested through false accusations. Go ahead and look me up. I have nothing to hide. That's the difference between you and I. So when I bring these things to light, this is what happens. And this is what happens to a lot of people and why things are kept hush hush. But people have now found an outlet, an avenue in basement politics where they can now expose this information, put it out there. And that's what they're doing. And we have to address it. And I'm going to tell you about it. If there's fights every day in school, because that's what someone's telling me. Hey, folks, this is what we're hearing. It's fights every day in school. Hey, folks, crazy things are happening in bathrooms in the high school. People are getting beat up and stripped of their clothes on city buses. It's not to attack any of our elected officials. It's to make them aware about it because all they seem to think is that we just have a hunger problem. So, and that's why I mention these things. So, you can say, Freddie, why you being negative? Freddie, why you criticizing? Freddie, I mean, do you not want to know about this? Do you not want me to bring it to light? I mean, obviously people do because they send me the information. And you got to question, why is it that you don't want to hear about it? Why is it that you can't see what everybody else sees? I mean, go to Getty Square. If you support these individuals, go to Getty Square. Look at some of the videos that are posted online. They even have a page of Gordon Fights on Instagram. Gordon High School Fights. And they can't get it taken off. And they're posting this online. So, for you guys to come at me, it's just, this is what the individuals do, folks. And I want you to see this. I want you to see the tactics that elected officials are supposed to be professionals. We're supposed to be role models and examples in our community, behaving like thugs. Let me ask you this. Everyone, if you owned a business, would you hire some of the elected officials if you wanted to be successful? If you ran an education business, would you hire the majority leader to head your education business? Is she qualified? Don't be an elected official if you don't want basement politics to speak on you. Folks, we have a lawsuit here against Yonkers Brewing Company, its owner, John Rubo, and it's for labor and wages that were not paid or underpaid. They're all Latino. They're all Hispanic. Perfect for the Hispanic Day Parade. And what are our prominent community members that were present at the Hispanic or at the flag raising, the Puerto Rican flag raising, saying about this? What do they think about this? I mean, maybe it's not just because they're Hispanic. Maybe that's not why they're being taken advantage. Defendants are Yonkers Brewing Company, LLC, John Rubo, Nicholas Califano, and Mike Pex. And guess who the attorney is for the defendants? Mark E. Constantine. Does he work for the city? It's like a Harris Beach thing, right? That's not quid quo pro. That's not quid quo pro. Maybe you guys don't understand the definition of quid quo pro over there in the council. You just do as you're told. Do as you're told. Though we was friends, city council president, by the way. Though we was friends. And keep your friends close and your enemies closer, right? Plaintiff Flor Hernandez, Edgar Donato Sanchez. Two Hispanics who were not paid. I got to get more information, folks. I got to dig a little deeper. This is just what I found quickly. On August 18, 2021, Hernandez filed a labor standard lawsuit against Yonkers Brewing Company, LLC. This case was filed in U.S. District Courts, New York Southern District. The judge overseeing this case is Kenneth M. Karras. The status is pending. What's going on there, Mr. Rubo? Not paying your employees? Why not? Hernandez versus Yonkers Brewing Company, discovery order. See, it's about discovery and lawsuits. And now they're trying to block this discovery. What don't you want them to discover? See, they're going to be scared in lawsuits and discovery. In order to facilitate the progress of the pretrial discovery of this litigation in a just, speedy, and inexpensive manner, to ensure the compliance with the case management plan and to prevent the accumulation of unresolved discovery issues, the following procedures will be followed for the resolution of discovery disputes. It talks about, that stuff for discovery. It's all in the case there. This guy's being sued by Mike Cater. He's being sued by his employees, former employees, Latinos. You hear that? This is for my Hispanic community. I mean, 43%, and why I say the things I say, and I mention the prominent Hispanics, because they don't care about the rest of us. They mingle with folks that, do things like this. They don't care. Why aren't they saying, yo, Rubo, man, what's up? You're not paying, the Latinos, the Hispanics? Are they immigrants? Did I speak English well? Did you think you can get over on them because of that? Is that what that was? Unbelievable. And then you have Tasha Diaz, who wants to threaten to call the cops on DACA recipients. If they get any police contact, they can get deported, have their DACA status, revoked. She didn't care. How dare you speak out against the majority leader? I'm going to call the cops on you. And that's what they're doing. So I love the Yonkers NAACP defending Jamal Bowman. And I know I'm not Jamal Bowman. I'm not a congressman. And I know that the DACA recipients are not congressmen or women. They're not, prominent members of our community. We're not prominent members of the community. But they're weaponizing the police against us. You hear that, Yonkers NAACP? And you were there, Vice President, when you saw an individual trying to call the cops on me for absolutely no reason. But I'm not Jamal Bowman, so I don't get a whole statement. I don't get a letter. These DACA recipients don't get anyone to support them and say, hey, that's not right. Trying to call the cops on them, Tasha? Really? Me too. I'm running late too. Yeah, I got a meeting today. Folks think this is a joke. I'm Freddie Vasquez. I'm here for you folks. I'm here for the people. Listen, you with me, you're with me. If not, you're not. But, what I'm noticing is that the individuals that criticize are part of that circle. They're benefiting in some way. I just had an individual call me. That's why I was a little late coming on. A new source, brand new source. Not black, not Arab, not Latino, but white. Not the first white person. And I appreciate my white brothers and sisters. Irish, Italian, but I love you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for the support. And the things that I'm hearing about certain individuals who get jobs and how they get the jobs at DPW. And I know that the Mount Vernon DPW is doing a job fair. Shout out to the mayor there. Can we get a job fair for the DPW here? Right? Telling me about folks who are getting jobs because of who they're connected to. So I'll be talking about more about that. They also have a video that I'm going to be showing. I get a lot of videos. But please do not send me any videos of anyone doing anything sexual, especially if they're, underage at all. I don't want them. Just tell me about it. Tell me why you're upset about what happened, and I'll discuss it. Because these guys are looking for anything on Freddie Vasquez right now. That's a fact. Anything on me. Anything. So I got to be clean as a whistle, but thank God that's what I do anyway. And no, I'm not perfect, Yonkers alive. I'm not perfect at all. Never claimed to be, but thank you for the shout out. Making a whole post about me saying that I think I'm perfect. No, I just don't rob from the poor. I don't steal from kids. I don't touch little kids. I don't lie to people for votes. I don't kill housing ordinance that are very much needed. I don't associate with or fund convicted sex offenders just to get my business out there and make money. I have morals. I have integrity, something that some of our elected officials lack. So no, I don't think I'm perfect. But I sure am a lot better than some of our elected officials. That's for sure. I'm Freddie Vasquez. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate the support, folks. I'm out of here. Oh, let me check out the comments. Yes, people are worried and feel safer reaching out to community advocates. Yeah, absolutely. So if anybody's out there, it's going to be completely anonymous. I can guarantee you that. Completely anonymous. Absolutely. City council members' job is not to be handing out food. They should be reviewing the budget and the city's finances, being a check on the executive branch, and to propose legislation. Absolutely. And that's my only gripe. So I apologize, Mr. Meyer. I didn't mean to offend you or what you and your organization does, because it's very much appreciated and it's very much needed. Thank you very much. It's just that when you involve certain individuals and now they come and hijack it, and look what they're doing now, right? Shouldn't even be all this mess. But she talked about it on the Yonkers Voice. Because of me, Yonkers is fed, right? These morons don't have a clue as to what their role in government is. Think I'm ready to come on your show? I'll reach out. Listen, I'll welcome you anytime, any day. You let me know, and I'll definitely have you on there. Maddie, thank you for Big Pamela's Heart Foundation. Shout out to you. She named it after her mom, and she's doing things in the community. And that's what she's not an elected official, right? That's what she does. They're all crooks, Freddie. Every last one of them. They've all gotten jobs and other perks for themselves and their family members in exchange for their votes and their souls. That's the one. That's a deep one. I will say this. I was at the flag raising, and one thing I noticed is that a lot of the individuals that were there were like related. They had the same last name. They were named the madrina or the padrino, and they all had this, some of them similar last names. I mean, you're like your mom is the head of this organization, and then you're gonna name your child to. I mean, really? Like, there's no other Hispanics, nobody else in the entire city of 90,000 Hispanics. I mean, do you guys do this for yourselves? I mean, is that what it is? We're not welcomed? I mean, I appreciate the people that said hello. Very respectful. Thank you, guys. So true. Yeah, I try to be. You will be getting lots of sources, and I hope so. I hope so. And don't be scared. Like I said, I keep my sources anonymous. I can guarantee you that, and it will not break that confidentiality. Kind of like my wife. She has a confidentiality that she can't tell me things. Okay, and stay out of targeting my wife. If anyone I speak about, they're involved in politics in some form or fashion. They're involved in the community in some form or fashion, right? And there's a reason why. So I just, in the Latino community, I mean, we have to be represented better. Hispanics, we have to be represented better. We have to, rotate and get new, fresh faces, new, fresh ideas, because it's been the same individuals. I mean, since back when James Kavanaugh was being investigated by by the New York State Inspector General, one of the things in the report that they made mention, that they felt it was important enough to mention, was a contribution that he made to the Hispanic Day Parade, or the Yonkers Puerto Rican Day Parade organization. What was that about? What was that about? And what's going on there? Because the same individuals that just been holding on to it, and then they name their kids something too, and then they name their father or their friend to some thing with the little thing wrapped around you. I was in the parade once, actually, as a kid. I had the hat, and I had a white shirt with a red bandana. I was doing a little dance and stuff like that. And shout out to the guy from Boricua Posse. There was a song that was very popular back in days. Shout out to DJ Good Times. See, I go back. Shout out to DJ Good Times at Boricua Posse. The guy showed up with the chain and everything. I was like, oh shoot, I walked with him in the parade. I'm sure he doesn't remember me. I'm nobody, but that's cool. Everything comes full circles, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez, and I'm back. This is Basement Politics. Thank you. Have a great night.
Freddie wins. Fatality. Freddie wins. Fatality.
Thank you, folks, for joining me. I'm Freddie Vasquez. I appreciate the love and the support. Please continue to share the podcast, share the stories, share the information. All my sources will be kept anonymous. I can guarantee you that. Change only comes when we speak up and speak out. Take a stand in the face of adversity. Speak truth to power. Fear is only an illusion. I'm Freddie Vasquez. Have a great night, folks. Stay dry.
Freddie wins. Fatality. Over. Game over.
No!